Zelete, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you. Or something big is happening in Togo. Just as Mali arrested a French spy, allegedly, some two French men were also arrested for spying and they were charged for espionage. Simple because, according to the information they gave out before entering into Togo was that they are coming into Togo as tourists, so they acquire a tourist visa because they claim they want to come and enjoy the beautiful culture, the beaches, the food, and also get some fabrics of Africa. They were granted visas only for them to enter into Togo and they were doing otherwise. Professor Franklin Yamson break down these analysis and looking at what they came into Togo to do the moment they arrived was different from whatever reason they stated before getting their visa. They know very well that when they should apply for a visa to come and do some investigation or reporting, they will not be allowed. Why? Because Togo has decided to ban all French TV or media outlets in Togo. According to the report, they were banned because they said instead of them helping the people in Africa to fight against CT, they were rather in Togo helping allegedly the TT in destabilizing the country, just like we are seeing in Mali, in Niger, and in Burkina Faso. So for that matter, the authorities in Togo decided to ask them to leave their countries. If you can't help us fight our battle, do not help us destroy our country. For that reason, they decided to hide their identity. And the moment they got into Togo, straight to the northern part where these CT activities have been intensified.
Now let's talk about this arrest. According to the information that your servant has recovered what happened with Gail Mokayer and welcome Sébastien Pérez Pezzani. CES, two French citizens according to the information at our disposal, asked to travel to Togolese territory too. Tourist status. I start again and please note the information in order. They applied for a visa to come to Togo as tourists. In other words, even though they are actually reporters working for the group, French Public France Television, they preferred to say that they came to the Togo simply to contemplate the landscapes, benefit from the beautiful beaches of the Togolese coast, eating dough sauce, buy good fabrics by Nana Benz, take beautiful photos and return to Paris. You note well, he asked to come to Togo and he presents himself as a tourist. It does not present itself by indicating the real reason he wanted to come to Togo. Second information, once they arrive in Togo, they do not behave like tourists. They go to the north of Togo, an area that has been placed in a state of emergency by the Togolese authorities because of the infiltrations, terrorist groups, and he starts a job of investigative journalist. He begins a field investigation work. It is necessary to know that when journalists visit a country, for the purpose of conducting an investigation, they are obliged to indicate that they are journalists. 2, that they do not come for vacations. 3, that they wish to come, conduct surveys or report. And EC are the authorities of the country which under these conditions issue them a visa or do not issue it to them. Mr. Gael Moker and Mr. Sebastien Perez Pisani knew in a relevant way from Paris that if they had said they were reporters from France Télévision and that within the framework of CES, of the works of France Television, he worked for the documentary The Roads of the Impossible and that he wanted to come conduct a field report in war-torn northern Togo. They knew that the Togolese authorities would have opposed an end of not receiving and that they would have been denied the visa. Why did they know it? Because in June 2025, Le Togo suspended. The official French media on its territory. France 24, TV 5, RFI. Young Africa and others have been banned from Togo. The Togolese authorities believing that these media practice terror journalism and work to destabilize the country, mutedly supporting in reality terrorist infiltrations, instead of supporting the struggle of African peoples against terrorism and the struggle of the Togolese people. So Messrs. Gelmoker and Sebastien Perez Pejani, knowing that the Togo has forbidden the activities of France Television on its territory, have hidden their identity as agents of France Television, have arrived in Togo with tourist visas and arrived on Togolese soil have started non-tourist activities. Here are the conditions under which third important element ILS have been charged with espionage by the Togolese authorities, and they have been accused of false information. False information since they have not declined their real identity as agents or from France Television contract. If they had declined this identity, they would not have had a visa on. Togo cannot prohibit France 24 RFI broadcast on its territory and allow journalists from the group to which belongs France 24 RFI to investigating in its territory is a contradiction. You agree with me? So they did not give exact information on the purpose of their entry into Togo and arrived in Togo and began to carry out unauthorized activities. This is how the Togolese authorities accuse them of spying, of espionage. Is it clear to everyone? Now we'll ask ourselves the question, will we? The charge of espionage, formulated by the Togolese authorities under these conditions, intellectually logical? Is this an undeniable accusation? My answer to me, Frank Niemzi, yeah, Cameroon, yeah, Africa, is yes. Does the charge of espionage, formulated by the Togolese authorities under these conditions, intellectually logical? Is this an undeniable accusation? My answer to me, Portuguese, Ivorian or Cameroonian or Portuguese, is yes. This is an undeniable accusation, and I will give you the reasons. First, it is indisputable, because they entered Togo by breaking the real reasons for their arrival. If they have hidden the real reasons for their arrival, it is because they knew that the real reason for their arrival was a motive, a subversive motive. So by hiding their real identity of reporter of France Television, they have accused themselves, are themselves positioned as spies. This is when you note the arguments. If they hadn't come to spy, they would say, we are journalists, we are reporters, we work with France Television. We make a report on the roads of the impossible. Do you allow us to come and film at your place on? Togo would have told them yes, or he would have told them no, and the matter would have stopped there. If Togo had told them yes, come and film for your France Television report, and that Togo arrested them for espionage there, it would be a blunder of the Togolese authorities, but Togo gave an entry visa to tourists. Arrived in Togo, they turned into a reporter and an investigator against the conditions of the visa granted to them. From then on, they were in the subversion, they were outlawed. There is a second. That is why I think that the Togolese accusation is unacceptable. The second reason is the behavior of the journalists of France Television. In other African countries these last years, and for several years, French official journalists, the journalists of French investigation have taken the habit of considering that come and do their journalistic safari in Africa, India, of the rules of African countries. These last few years, many of you here who listen to me are aware of numerous complaints of African countries where French journalists entered without a visa. This is the case of the Mali, of the Burkina Faso, of Niger, taking advantage of borders controlled by terrorists. French journalists, including official journalists, of TV5, of France 24, of RFI, have entered the territories of African countries to carry out their investigations, to carry out their espionage activities. To the beard of the African authorities, it is true or it is false. 2. Starting from Mauritanian territory, many journalists entered Mali without visas, and it was journalists from France Television at From Algerian territory, many official French journalists have entered Mali without a visa, and they were official French journalists. They entered Nigerian territory like that without, and they entered usually in several African countries without a visa, while Africans without visas are parked, like animals and livestock, in detention and administrative centers in France. These journalists come to make fun of the rules. And African diplomats, and they enter Africa, with reasons found to carry out activities. Unauthorized. Here is the second reason. Here is the second reason why. The accusation of espionage is a logical accusation. It is a legitimate accusation. Since CE, which is reproached to Mr. Gelmoker and Sebastien Perez, has already been to several other French journalists. You saw French journalists enter until Thessalite, in the tanks in the vehicles of the terrorists to taunt the Malian government. You saw them enter Niger, enter Burkina in secret, without authorization, without visa. So this idea spread among the journalists of France television, that Africa is a journalistic safari ground, that we can go in and out, African countries as we like, of the rules and of African immigration CE. Prejudice there has deeply inhabited Gelmoker and Sebastien Perez to hide their true professional identity when applying for their visa to come to Togo. He wanted to roll the Togolese authorities in the flour, and it is in this flour that they themselves were rolled. This is the second reason why. The accusation of espionage made by the Togolese authorities must be taken seriously. The third reason, obvious, is that the fact that the Togo decided to cooperate militarily with Russia is very clearly known as one of the reasons why Benalla France commits CE, which can be called his final solution against a political regime, from the moment an African country stops, and to reserve SA military and security cooperation. Only Western advisors, in general French in particular, this country becomes a target of active destabilization. This country is in the list of countries where Paris hurries to organize a coup d'etat. Hasten to organize quite naturally infiltrations of CS terrorist mercenaries. Togo is a target of the imperial Western terrorism in general, and French terrorism in particular. Or when a territory is targeted in this way, it is often sent in effect of civilians disguised as tourists do the spy work. We send people who do not assume their true identity, and they come under the guise of tourism, or even humanitarian action, explore the field, inform the military, and prepare the operations in Veneer. So here are three reasons why. The charge of espionage is not abusive, but there is a fourth reason. This fourth reason comes from the activity of journalists. Of France television in Africa, I would like to take two models. Two typical cases of French television journalists who are super terrorists, i.e. journalists in the service of terrorism. This are gentlemen Serge Daniel Bogbo Houndada, that we affectionately call the Dakar Owl, and Wassim Nasser, whom we call just as affectionately the of the terrorist groups in the Sahel. Listen. Gaël Mokayer and Sebastien Perez Peseni work for France television exactly like Serge Daniel Boudou Dada, Sebastien Perez Pesani. When these people come to the Togo, and moreover they return to the region where the Togolese armed forces are fighting terrorist groups, we naturally expect the work they will do looks like two drops of water to the work of their illustrious, sadly illustrious colleagues, Serge Daniel Bogo Houndada, alias the Owl of Dakar, and Wassim Nasser, alias the Supreme for terrorist groups.
According to reports, every information they have gathered was seized. Their cameras and other things were destroyed, and they were charged for spying. This is what they normally do to us in Africa. Always want to have upper hand, meddle in anything at all that we do here. An African can never do this. Even when you are going to seek for visa genuinely to study or do something, we see how they treat us. But these people lied that they were coming into Togo as tourists, yet they came into the country and they were doing otherwise. And the simple question is Togo right to charge these French journalists, reporters, or whatever for spying? Do Togo have every right to detain these people for whatever reason? Even though a report says Togo finally decided to change whatever charges that they labeled against these two men, because first you said they came to spy, they entered into the country illegally, false pretense, or with false information. So is Togo scared of what the outcome might be? That's what people are asking. Because you cannot charge them for a crime and later on drop these charges. Why not stood your ground? If the people actually didn't come to Togo for the reason to which they stated by acquiring the visa, why then should you drop the charges? Did somebody call somebody and somebody called the person and finally all charges were dropped? And if this is so, allegedly these charges have been dropped. If this is so, why will Togo still hold its reputation like the judges and other people? How will international or even Africa see Togo if this is true that the charges have been dropped, looking at all the evidence and everything that they have brought out concerning these people? Africa must understand that we need to stand our ground. Whenever we do anything in their countries that goes against their laws, they do not pardon us. The laws deal with us. They don't care whether you know somebody or you don't know somebody. So anytime they also come into our respective countries and do things, we need to stand firm and let the law deal with them. Like we are seeing in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, they don't work with them with any mercy. They allow the laws to deal with these people as is required. But if we are charging them for something and later on dropping the charges, there are a lot of suspicion. People will not be asking a lot of questions, and the credibility of the institution also drops. We want our leaders to be firm in taking their decisions. You cannot tell us you are coming into Africa, specifically Togo, for tourism, and later on you will be found acting differently. Simple because the country has banned the activities of all French journalists. What are you looking for in Togo? What is your motive? Why not state clearly the reason to which you want to enter Togo and see whether the visa will be granted or not? We have every right to decide who enters here, just as they also have every right to decide who enters their country. If we cannot lie to enter into their countries, why then do they need to also lie to enter into Africa? And whatever thing that is happening in our continent, our leaders must make sure we take charge of it. We control the situation. Not them coming into our countries, taking everything of Africa to go and say it to their own interests. We must learn to protect our own interests as well. And when we take decisions, we should be firm, regardless of who is involved. This is the only way the African can regain his or her power. When we cannot take bold, decisive decisions against them, it makes us weak, like what Mali has done. When General Assimi Goïta all in all decided to sentence this man to 20 years, he knew very well that at the end of the day, the trap that he set in would definitely catch the big fish. People were pretending and making noise, claiming that the people are pointing the wrong fingers at them simply because they came into office and they couldn't deliver. But the moment this big trap was set, it exposed everything to the whole world and to the African who still believe in the oppressor. And these are the things we want our leaders to be doing. This is what shows that we are sovereign people. It is our actions, our decisions that we are able to take facing these people face on that will tell them how serious we are and how we are ready to fight for our sovereignty, our dignity. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand. Divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we'll make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, West Africa, and in Togo.